Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. So I received a lot of requests about the audio. That was a big concern in the previous videos that I did early on the Rising Sign series. So I'm going to re-record everything in clearer audio for all of you. Another big concern that came up was the appearances. A lot of you didn't resonate with those appearances that we talked about in the Rising Sign series. So I'm going to generally talk about those appearances again in these videos, but I want you all to keep in mind that appearance is something that can vary. There are several indications of appearance in the natal chart, including the moon sign, the planets that are in the second house, planets in the first house, and any planets that are aspecting over to that first house as well. So something that I recommend for all of you if you are interested in appearance is to go over to Claire Nocti's channel. I learned a lot about appearance from her channel specifically. But in this video, we're going to focus more on the purpose, on the general characteristics, and how you can use this to improve your life. So I'm less interested on the appearance or the surface level matters of the astrology, and I'm actually going to get more into the qualities. And in this Nakshatra, we're also going to combine the Nakshatras, because I talked about those Nakshatras previously in individual videos, and they were some of those earlier videos as well that had those difficult audio qualities in there. So we're going to fix that as well. So a lot that we're going to cover here in this Ascendant Sign series. Let's go ahead and get right into this. So welcome to all of those of you who have Sagittarius rising. We're going to redo this video completely. So before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer that this is not going to be about your sun sign or your moon sign. So this is not about your sun sign, which is all about your soul's desire, or your moon sign, which is about how you think, how you feel, how you react. This is also not going to be based off of Western tropical astrology. So if you're coming from Western tropical astrology, you may not know your Vedic sidereal rising sign. If that is the case, I have a calculator down below in the description that will show you what your rising sign and all of your other placements are according to Vedic sidereal astrology. And you can find that over on my website. And this is a great little guide that you can get through your email where this is colored. So this gives you the different colors of the zodiac signs within the chart and a description of how to interpret those placements. I also want to give the disclaimer here that this is going to be varied depending upon the placements in your chart. So you want to pay attention to how are planets placed. If there are planets in your first house, aspecting your first house, this all can change how these qualities come across. The Rising Sign series is also going to be all about those degrees. So at the end of the video, what I'm going to do, which is different from our previous Rising Sign series, is I'm going to go into the different Nakshatras. So you want to know what is the degree of your rising sign. This will tell you which Nakshatra your rising sign is under. So again, this is going to be according to Vedic sidereal astrology, not Western tropical astrology. I just want to make that point very clear for everyone who is coming onto this channel. If you are using Western tropical astrology, then this will not be accurate for you. And so those of you who are born with Sagittarius rising, more towards the tail end degrees of Sagittarius and Western Tropical, will most likely have your rising sign stay here in the sign of Sagittarius. But many of you who are born more towards the beginning of Sagittarius, it's going to shift because there's about a 23-degree difference between the two zodiacs. So I'm super excited to get into this. As I mentioned before, this is not just about your personality. This is going to be all about this point that was rising on the east at the moment of birth. And so this rising sign is the actual constellation that was rising from the eastern horizon at the very moment that you were born. And this is why the time of birth is so important in understanding this position. This is going to be all about that moment that your soul made contact with its physical incarnation here in this lifetime. And so this tells the story of your life, why you were born, why you're here, what is this path, this experience that you've come here, what is this all about? And so we're going to get into what is your life lesson, what is your life path, what does that look like? We're going to talk a little bit about that here in this video today. And again, the planets that are positioned in the houses are going to impact this as well. So this is only giving you a foundation. Everyone who has this Sagittarius rising, their chart is going to be different. They're going to have planets in different placements, and that is going to change how this shows up. So some other things that we'll talk about here, along with the soul lesson, the life path, is also the physical appearance, the health. And again, we're going to get into the Nakshatras. And along with that, we're also going to look at your ascendant Lord. So for those of you who have Sagittarius rising, we're going to talk about this later on, but your ascendant Lord is Jupiter. So if you are familiar with where Jupiter is positioned in your chart, that is very helpful. That is going to tell you a lot about your life direction and the lessons that you're here to learn. So we're going to talk about that as well. And along with that, we're going to talk about how the different Mahadashas affect you as a Sag rising. And again, this is going to be very general. For those of you who are undergoing a Rahu Mahadasha, I've actually made a video about the Rahu Mahadasha and the Bukti periods. So if you are interested in that, make sure to check that out. I will leave a link down below in the description and above. And of course, if you want to go deeper to understand how your chart actually plays out for you, going beyond just this foundation that we're going to talk about here in this video, but actually getting into the planets, how they're aspecting one another, different transits, how they're impacting your life, the dasha periods that you're going through, all of these different factors, make sure to check out my brand new website where you can book an appointment with me. So starting off here with the personality of a Sagittarius ascendant. Sagittarius is all about having a higher vision in life, taking a higher path in life. This is the sign that is all about wisdom, morals, principles, ethics. Sagittarius is all about taking the higher path in life, the dharmic path. So this is a very righteous sign, very forthright. A lot of Sagittarius ascendants are out there fighting for justice, fighting for humanity, fighting for a cause. This is all about the righteous way. With Sagittarius, we get into these higher teachings and philosophies of life. This is because this is connected originally to the 9th house of the zodiac. So Sagittarius is the 9th sign in the sequence. And the 9th house is all about higher teaching, philosophy, higher education, religion. So this becomes a huge part of Sagittarius ascendant's life. Because of the moral foundation, which we'll talk about more about, because this has to do with Capricorn ruling over the 2nd house of your early upbringing. A lot of you are very well educated people, highly intelligent. You have a lot of wisdom, a lot of principles, a lot of values to share with the world. And so a lot of you are very opinionated. You have a lot of values that you hold on to throughout your life. And a lot of you make really great teachers, counselors, writers, public speakers, preachers. You can do well in law and justice and in serving causes that are greater than yourself. And so Sagittarius is also a dual sign. This is showing us that there is a lot of change, a lot of movement that is associated with this sign. There's also a duality in the sense of the symbol being a centaur. So if we look at the centaur, this is half man, half horse. And the horse part of the centaur is actually on the ground, on the earth itself. And so this tells us that Sagittarius is a sign that is very much sensual, materialistic. It has a lot of desires to it. However, the man part of Sagittarius is aiming its arrow towards the heavens. And so there's also a side of Sagittarius that is aiming for something higher, looking for deeper meaning. And so although there is a sensual side to this sign, this doesn't necessarily make you a materialistic person. You're looking for this thing that is greater than yourself. Sagittarius is a sign that has a lot of difficulty with sitting still due to this changeable energy that is here. These are people who are restless, who need adventure, who need experiences. This is a sign that often is traveling a lot. And a lot of you are very much freedom oriented. You love your freedom, you love your space, you love your expansiveness. And so the feeling of being restricted or limited in some way is very difficult with this position. Sagittarius is a sign that is looking for happiness in life, wants to enjoy every moment to the fullest. And so there is a lot of movement, a lot of change, a lot of travel that is associated with this sign. Along with that, Sagittarius is a fire sign. So a lot of you have a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of drive. You're very determined people. You're looking to achieve in life, to be successful, to move towards some purpose, some direction. And of course, again, that ninth house is all about our future, our purpose, our principles. And so this is a huge thing for Sagittarius. Sagittarius can be very athletic, so you can be someone who is very much interested in activities and challenges and excitement. Now, along with that, this fire nature, this being a dual fire sign, is giving you very strong desire, very strong ambition. And so this is a sign that is very much associated with lust at a lower functioning level. So we'll talk more about that as we go, because one of the difficulties of this sign is getting into addiction. That can be a very low point for a Sag rising. Because even though a lot of you have strong moral values, there is a side to Sagittarius that is very susceptible to excess. Again, this is a very expansive energy that doesn't like limitation, that doesn't like restriction. So there's a lot of expansiveness that is happening here. So this can also be a struggle for many of you who have Sagittarius rising. There's this battle between this lower nature of these desires, of this sensuality, and this higher nature that you are aiming for in life. Along with that, Jupiter is your ruler. So this is where those higher teachings, the philosophy, the knowledge, the religion, the principles that you're following are coming from this influence of Jupiter. Jupiter is a big, broad, expansive planet, and in the same way, you are a very expansive person. The way that you view life is very broad. So this is why this sign is associated with philosophy. You're very deep thinkers, very profound thinkers. So this is a very intelligent position. Jupiter is a planet that is very benevolent in nature. So this gives you very high morals, very high ethics and principles. And this is going to play a huge role in all areas of your life. And so because of this big, broad, expansive way of looking at things, many of you have difficulty dealing with the smaller aspects of life. You're not interested in small talk. You're not interested in the trivial concerns. You're not interested in the nitpicking and in the gossiping. You are someone who has a much broader perspective. You're looking for the bigger picture. You're looking for the deeper meaning in life. And this is why, again, this sign is very much associated with religion. You are people who are very futuristic. You have a large vision. You have a big aim in life that you are after. And so this is where the small talk aspect is very challenging. If you are someone who is into small talk and trying to have a conversation with a Sag rising, this can be very difficult because not long in the conversation they are going to go deeper. They're going to go into big, broad discussions, whether that is philosophy, politics, religion, whatever the case may be. a worthy cause that they are talking about, they're going to bring this to a much broader perspective. And so Sag risings don't have a lot of patience for unnecessary talk, for unnecessary distractions. These are very serious, very focused people who, again, have this wisdom, this maturity, this philosophical quality about them. And so Sagittarius is very much interested in subjects, again, that are around philosophy, principles, teaching, spirituality. Although this is a sign that is more geared towards religion, but it can still be about spirituality as well. Now, let's talk about the physical appearance of a Sagittarius ascendant. So generally, a Sagittarius ascendant will have two different looks. Typically, they will either be very tall or they will be short and plump. This is coming from the expansive nature of Jupiter. So this can expand the appearance either way, but typically a Sagittarius ascendant is very attractive, very youthful looking. The eyes are typically very beautiful for the Sagittarius ascendant. You can have a very large nose. The smile is usually very attractive, and there's usually a cheerful nature to a Sagittarius ascendant. They love to laugh and to tell jokes. Humor can be very healing for this sign. You're a very positive and forward-looking person who likes to add humor to situations. And so this can make your wisdom very worthwhile to many people. A lot of you are able to find a way to mix your humor and your teachings and philosophies together, which gives a very positive effect that other people really enjoy. There can be a very balanced features overall for your appearance. You can have very clear complexion, and you can have good mannerisms and very angular facial features. So this is something that is typically seen for a Sagittarius ascendant. You can come across as very elegant, very graceful, and this is coming from, again, those high morals that are related to Jupiter. You carry yourself a certain way. You have very firm opinions, very firm principles. You can also have an athletic look for some of you as well. Again, this is a very active sign. This is a sign that is in the world accomplishing things, getting things done. It is a very restless energy. So many of you are very active people, always on the go. This is a sign that sometimes when you try to pin them down, they are quick to bolt away from the situation. They like to keep things moving in life, like to achieve things, like to be actively doing something. And so one thing that we'll talk about later in this video is that Sag risings have an interesting connection with their home life. They are very much attached to their home, but also are detached in the sense that they are always on the go. Now, as far as health goes for a Sagittarius ascendant, a lot of you can have issues, even though you're very active. You can have issues with weight gain. And so there is a sweet tooth that is seen here for those of you with Sagittarius rising. And this is happening because Taurus is ruling over your 6th house of health and illnesses. And so Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is oftentimes associated with sweets because it is a planet of love, beauty, and pleasure. So it is a softer planet. And so this can give you a bit of an addiction to sweets. So this is something to watch out for. Now this can also attribute to other addictions. So this can be connected to any kind of substances, anything that you are having dependency with. You want to be very cautious about what you are taking into your body because this can cause some health difficulties. In particular, this can cause difficulties later in life because Taurus is a very slow-moving sign. So you can see diabetes and other concerns popping up at an older age. So you want to just monitor what you are putting into your body. Because Taurus also is associated with the throat, it's the second sign of the zodiac, and the second house is associated with the throat and the face area. So this can also show that there are some issues related to sore throat, strep throat, all of these sorts of issues. I've even seen thyroid issues with this position and losing your voice. So these are areas of concern as well. Along with this, the hips and thigh area, because Sagittarius rules over the actual thighs in terms of the physical body. So this is being associated with the ninth house that deals with the hip and thigh area. And this is coming from the fact that Sagittarius is very active. So many of you may be very much actively engaged on the go all of the time, and this can wear out your body as you come into an older age. So this is something where you can see some issues with the muscles and with some tension in the body. Another big concern for Sagittarius risings is that many of you are very opinionated. You have very strong beliefs, strong conviction, and you can be out in the world fighting for justice, trying to spread your message, your philosophy to the world. And this can sometimes cause some difficulties for you where you can get into arguments and conflicts with other people. And although you are this righteous warrior in the world, you actually can have some health-related problems because of this conflict with other people. This can cause you a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of mental tension. And so this is definitely an area where you want to develop some practices in your life that can help you deal with the stress levels. This can cause a lot of problems for you. Sagittarius rising, interestingly enough, also can have moments of laziness. Even though you are very hardworking, you're very ambitious, you're very determined with your philosophy, with all of your energy, there can be moments where there is a lack of motivation or a lack of inspiration that is there. And so this is definitely something big to look at. For many people with Sagittarius rising, humor, optimism, motivation, inspiration, these are big things that helps to improve in these areas of health for you. So what is the life lesson of a Sagittarius ascendant? What is the purpose? What did your soul come here to do and learn in this lifetime? Well, for a lot of you, it has to do with teaching. You've come here to teach your moral values, to teach your principles, to teach your ethics, to teach your beliefs. This is a strong lesson that a Sagittarius ascendant has come here to do in this lifetime. So a lot of you make excellent teachers, great thinkers. There's a high level of intelligence that is found here in Sagittarius ascendant. And you have your message, you have your philosophy that you are here to share with others. And so this is a huge thing for you. And so for those of you who are losing your voice, who are not expressing your vision, your belief to the world, this is a big thing where you want to look at why you are not able to get this teaching out to others. This is a huge part of your path in life. Another end of this that is on the other extreme is, are you being too pushy? Are you being too dogmatic in the way that you are expressing these beliefs and values to the world? If this is the case, this also shows that there is a need to detach the ego from this, that this needs to be about a higher purpose, that higher path. Again, this symbol of this arrow aiming towards the heavens. And so what is the reason why you're sharing these beliefs? What is this higher vision? What is this higher path? This thing that is bigger than yourself? This is another aspect of this to look at. But overall, you have come here to share your knowledge, your wisdom with other people. Now, Sagittarius as your ascendant means Jupiter rules your first house. But then Pisces is controlling your fourth house, and this is a neutral position for Jupiter. So when Jupiter is ruling the first and fourth house, it becomes a neutral planet for your chart. The reason for this is because Jupiter is a functional benefic, and it is controlling two Kendra houses, so that energy is reversed. However, the first house is yourself, and the fourth house brings a lot of peace and happiness. And because this is your first house ruler, this is never going to put you in a difficult situation. Jupiter is here to help you because it is ruling over your life path. So this is a very interesting combination for a Sagittarius ascendant, where some of you can have difficulties in your life because you want to be free, you want to be detached, you want to always be on the go, always be doing something in your life. And so there's a strong need for independence. You can find that your home environment is a little bit difficult, a little bit restrictive, a little bit stuffy, where some of you like to move around. You like to have that freedom to go out into the world. And even as you get older, some of you will like to have your home as a place of peace and quiet, a place for spiritual practices. But then you don't really like to stay in your home. Jupiter is controlling your fourth house of home, and Jupiter is the planet of travel, of adventure, of philosophy, of expansion. So for a lot of you, it's a very difficult task for you to stay in that home environment. You are always looking for something to do. You're always on some adventure. You're always looking for something new to learn, always looking to get value out of something. So there tends to be a lot of travel, a lot of movement, where you're not really attached to your home. Your home is mostly just a place for you to relax, to find that time to get some inner peace and quiet to yourself, to recharge. Other than that, a lot of you are always on the go, always doing something, always involved in something. If there is a social cause, if there is something involving society that you want to be a part of, if there's something you can learn from, something you can teach, you're always going to be involved in these activities. This is coming from this expansive quality of Jupiter. Now, this also can be related to your mother, where some of you have a very spiritual mother as well. So this can be seen from this position. So Capricorn controls your second house. So a lot of you grew up in a very disciplined environment. Capricorn in the second house gives you strong values. There can be some difficulty here, though, because Saturn is not a friendly planet for Jupiter. This is considered a functional malefic. So some of you grew up in an environment where it was very strict and you wanted to get away from it. You wanted that freedom, but this does give very strong values and principles. So even if you felt very restricted, even if you felt like there was a lot of discipline that constrained you in your early upbringing, it also instilled a lot of strong principles and values. So a lot of you have very good ethics and morals and a lot of higher education, because this is also controlling your third house, which is an intellectual house as well. So a lot of you have a lot of strong knowledge and intelligence and values that you're pulling from your early childhood. Also, a lot of you can be very traditional, where you are attached to your family and your culture. Some of you can have a duty or responsibility to your family, where you won't let your family go. You're very invested in your family. You're always there for your loved ones, and you want to give and provide for your family. So you're a very responsible person. And this can sometimes be very stressful depending on the position of Saturn. So you want to look at how is Saturn placed in your chart. But typically there's a very strong family ties present in your early upbringing. You're a very disciplined, very traditional type of person. You hold these strong family values with Capricorn in the second. A lot of you can also make a lot of money in your life, and you can be very skilled at money management. Although this might not come to you early, this may be something that comes with time. See, the problem with this position is that you, as a Sagittarius ascendant, are not as concerned with money. You have a purpose, a higher calling in life that is all about your morals, your principles, your teaching, your spirituality. You're concerned with the bigger picture in life, so money is not something that brings you a lot of joy or happiness in life. A lot of the time, you're more concerned with what is the higher value in life, and that is something that can be very difficult and frustrating for you. You want something that you can contribute to society. You want to help others. You want to make a difference. You want to get that knowledge, that belief system out into the world. And so this can be an area, depending again, upon Saturn's positioning, that can come with frustrations. There can be major delays where this can be a very difficult and slow moving process to build that wealth over time. But many of you are able to climb that ladder to get that success in terms of wealth. Just a very slow moving process. Your focus in life really is not about the material things, and this is why there is this frustration in this second house. Jupiter gives you a higher purpose in life, to focus on the teaching, the philosophy, the expansion, the higher knowledge again. So the knowledge, the higher principles, the higher vision, your goals in life, your dedication to society is much stronger than your focus on these smaller material factors of life. Now, with Saturn controlling your second and your third house of communication, the communication is going to be very serious. A lot of you want to take those principles, those morals, those beliefs, that knowledge that you have, that you've gained in your early upbringing, and you want to communicate that to other people. These are two houses that have to do with your communication, because the second house is your voice. It's the way that you speak. And the third house is your communication. It's how you interact with others in your social environment. So both of these houses, both having to do with speaking, communication, is ruled over by Saturn. And so therefore that's going to make your communication style very serious. You don't like frivolous talk. You don't like to focus on petty issues, drama, small talk, gossip. You are more interested in the higher philosophy. You need a purpose behind your communication. So a lot of you don't like to communicate as much unless there is some kind of purpose, unless it has to do with your work, it has to do with a societal issue, it has to do with your principles. So you could be the type of person having a normal conversation with other people, and all of a sudden in that conversation you bring up an issue on social justice. This is a very serious area for many of you. With Aquarius controlling your third house, a lot of you can also have some technical skills, some practical skills. You can be a very skillful and intellectual person. There's a very high level of intelligence here with Saturn controlling these houses, because Saturn is also a very dry and logical planet. It is all about the things that are realistic, that are practical. So even though Saturn is giving you a little bit of a difficult time here because it's not friends with your ruler Jupiter, it can give you a lot of challenges, a lot of upsets, a lot of difficulties, particularly early on in your life. However, ultimately Saturn in this position can help you to grow in life, and you are all about growth as Jupiter is about expansion. So this can help you to grow with time. And remember that the third house is an Upachaya house. So even though the second house where Saturn's rulership is Marka, the stronger sign, Aquarius, is ruling over this Upachaya house. And so this gives you room to grow, to improve. You are someone who is able to grow with time. Saturn helps you to deal with your problems, your obstacles in life, no matter how restrictive life seems to be. You are growing, you're learning, you're evolving through this. Also, Saturn ruling over this third house can sometimes give a detachment from your siblings or from your cousins in some way. So there can be distance. There can be strange things happening because Aquarius is a very eccentric sign. You could have half siblings, you could have to travel to see your siblings, you could have different belief systems from your siblings. On some level, this can create a feeling of distance in this area. Now, Aries controls your fifth house. So many of you are very active, very adventurous. This fifth house is the house of fun, and Aries is a very active, spontaneous sign. This is Mars. So many of you like adventure, you like travel, you like new opportunities. You like that constant movement and spontaneity. And depending on where Mars is positioned in your chart, you could be a very good gambler. You could have a lot of luck in some of the risk-taking you do in your life. But you want to be careful depending on Mars's position, because you can become very impulsive and get yourself into a sticky situation. But remember that Aries controls the brain, and here in the fifth house of education. So you have a high level of passion and dedication to your education. You want to excel in your studies, and you can do very well. This can help you to climb the ladder of success in your education. You're always looking to learn, always looking to experience something new. This can even take you to a very high position in your career. Your education can help you in your career position. This is coming from this push for education, for principles, for philosophy, for travel, for culture. A lot of you have an adventurous streak in you. And with Scorpio controlling your 12th house, this is Mars ruling over your 5th and 12th house. So a lot of you like to travel in places that are unknown or foreign, where you don't like to stay confined to your home. And so even if you're not traveling to foreign places, a lot of you are very active. You want to get out, you want to get in nature, you want to do different activities. A lot of you are very active with your children as well, because this is Mars controlling the 5th house of children. So a lot of you, when bonding with your children, you want to take your children on trips. You want to do activities with your children. And some of you can even want your children to be involved in athletics. You could also have a male child, because this is Mars ruling over this house. But you always want to check on the D7 chart before coming to that conclusion. But typically you like to be very active with your children. Now this 5th house is also about creativity, so you can also have a flair for drama, for dance, for music, or for any creative hobbies. With Scorpio controlling over your 12th house, a lot of you are very wise. Scorpio is a sign that uncovers all the hidden mysteries of life and is back in the deepest possible house of the subconscious, of the spiritual, of the things that are beyond this world, the ancestors, the dream realm, foreign places. So this is a very deep position that gives you a profound level of wisdom. You are able to dive deeply into any kind of spiritual subjects. And you could be very secretive about this, because Scorpio again is about the things that are hidden deep underground. So a lot of you can have some spiritual practices that you don't necessarily show to the world. You could be an astrologer in secret with this position. You could be doing any sort of practices in secret that are mystical, that are esoteric, that are involved in the occult, deep research. You can be very skilled at research and having this deep level of understanding over complex subjects. So there is a depth about you. You make an excellent teacher. You have a lot of wisdom to give to the world. Traveling for you is a learning experience. You like to go to faraway places so that you can learn something new from those experiences. So you're pulling from different philosophies, from several cultures and religions. You were able to pull a deep level of wisdom. Scorpio in the 12th can also make you very overindulgent as well. This is because Scorpio is this sign that is ruled over by Mars. We have all of this energy again. And the 5th house is about enjoyment, along with the 12th house being the house of bed pleasures. So many of you have this strong desire for freedom once again. And this can get you into all sort of pleasure-seeking activities. You want to be careful here, because this can draw you into obsession, into compulsive behaviors. This is where you want to experience your desires. You want to have freedom in life, and you're very in tune with your sensual nature. Now, Taurus controls your 6th house. Again, you want to watch out for sweets and any sort of addictions, obsessions. This Taurus energy is controlled by Venus, and Taurus is a very materialistic and sensual sign. Here in the 6th house of illnesses, diseases. So this can be a very difficult position where you want to be cautious in this area. Also, with Venus controlling your 6th house, a lot of you don't have many enemies. This is Venus, the peacemaker. This is all about balance. So you are very good at controlling conflicts here in this 6th house. A lot of you don't have many enemies. You're able to peacefully deal with the conflicts in the world. And for a lot of you, you like to address higher social issues rather than petty, trivial matters. And so this is why a lot of you can have very few enemies. But for the enemies that you do have, this is most likely coming from your workplace. You also have Libra controlling your 11th house, where you have to deal with other people in your field of work. So a lot of you can run into people who are jealous of you, people who are not willing to listen to your advice. So again, you have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. And many people don't like that you have this level of intelligence. So you can have a lot of opposition in your workplace as far as moving up the ranks, your social contacts, increase in your gains and promotions. But ultimately, you're able to work through these issues. And in some cases, you're able to gain through your enemies. With Libra controlling your 11th house, again, you can acquire a lot of wealth, just like that position of Capricorn being in your 2nd house. Libra gives you a very balanced approach to your larger social circles. And so for a lot of you, you're able to easily make friends. You're very likable. With Libra controlling your 11th, people find that it is easy to get along with you because you're someone who isn't concerned with calculating who you're going to interact with. You're very open to different walks of life. So a lot of people find you a very peaceful person to interact with. But Libra is controlled by Venus and rules over your 6th house. So again, you are able to gain a lot of wealth through Venus's rulership. But Venus isn't a friend to Jupiter. So this isn't an area that typically gives you a lot of happiness or fulfillment. For a lot of you, doing for others, having a higher calling, taking on moral principles, teaching others, this is what truly brings you a sense of joy in your life. So it isn't all about this material factor. Even though you can accumulate a great deal of wealth through your higher causes, it doesn't give you the same level of fulfillment. For those of you, you need a higher purpose. Now, Libra is also controlling your 11th house of your hopes and dreams. So you have a very balanced approach to this area. A lot of the time, situations tend to work out for you. And of course, this is going to depend on Jupiter's position in your chart, because Jupiter is that planet that is bringing you the luck, the blessings, the fortune in your life. But for a lot of you, situations will tend to work in your favor because of this Libra 11th house. A lot of you can be huge social justice advocates out in the world fighting for a particular cause, fighting for the well-being of the environment, protesting, being a part of a movement, because the 11th house is connected to your larger social circles, your gains, your networks. And this house is controlled by Libra, which is a sign of justice. So for a lot of you, you can deal with people in the world and can be a part of a larger movement where you're advocating for society. Because remember that your chart ruler is Jupiter, which is all about morals and principles. So you've come here for a higher purpose in life. Also, the 6th house deals with pets and smaller animals. The 11th house also deals with larger animals. So you can have a love for pets and can be involved in causes that protect and care for animals. Now, Gemini controls your 7th house. So a lot of you have difficulty with relationships unless there is an intellectual connection. Again, you have a high level of intelligence as a Sagittarius ascendant. Now, Gemini is a twin energy, so a lot of you can find soulmates where you have a very special connection with your partner. But for a lot of you, you need a partner who can keep up with you. You need a partner who you can be active with, who you can have intellectual conversations with. The difficulty with this, though, is that for a lot of you, your partner is very different from you. Gemini is intellectual in the sense that it's about small talk and practical mundane subjects, whereas your ruler Jupiter is all about higher philosophy, the higher vision, morals, principles. And so sometimes you can have difficulty with your partner if they're not on the same wavelength as you. You don't really enjoy discussing smaller issues. But in a way, this can be good for you because your partner can bring you down to earth with these smaller ideas and smaller conversations. This can also help to broaden your horizons along with your big, broad perspective, which is the very thing that you're looking to achieve as a Sagittarius ascendant. But you can have a very social partner. You enjoy having this social connection with your partner where you can interact with one another. You also like a partner who is very fun and spontaneous, someone who you can take on a trip with you, someone who can tag along on all of your adventures and expeditions. If you're a part of a cause or a particular group, you like a partner who can support you in this. And for a lot of you, you can have a partner who works in the same field as you, because the seventh house is all about business partnerships as well. And Virgo is controlling your 10th house of career. So Mercury owns both of these houses that are dealing with career and business, where you can meet your partner in your field of career. You could work with your partner, or you could work in a very similar field. But there's a lot of familiarity here with Mercury controlling the 7th and the 10th house, where you want a partner who is able to be in sync with you, a partner with similar interests who can really connect on an intellectual level. Now, with Virgo controlling your 10th house, a lot of you need a career where you're able to apply your intelligence. So a boring, mundane job doesn't tend to work for you. You need a high-end job where you're able to use your intellectual skills. This is the type of placement for someone who could work in a government think tank. You have a lot of high intelligence where you're able to truly analyze all of the details and use your practical knowledge in a very prominent way in your career. You could be a teacher, you could be a lawyer, you could work in the government. So this is where your education is highly important. For many of you, unless you have a high level of education, you're not able to be in the career that gives you the most success and happiness in life. Because this is Mercury, you could also find yourself changing jobs a lot, or you could be in a job where there's a lot of travel involved. There's a lot of fluctuation between jobs, usually early on before actually finding the right path in your career. So Mercury gives this fluctuation where it can take a little bit for you to actually figure out what is your true career path in life. But with the course of time, you're able to gain a career path where you can apply your intelligence, your knowledge, your philosophy, your communication skills. Remember that this is Mercury, the planet of communication. So many of you can work in a field that actually involves communication. You could be a teacher, you could be a journalist, you could be an author, you could be a public speaker, you could be in the political field, in the media field. But again, this is typically going to be a very practical career because this is Virgo ruling over this 10th house. And yes, this is a functional benefic. So a lot of people have asked me in the past about this. How is it possible that Mercury, which is said to be a benefic planet, is ruling over the 10th and the 7th, which are Kendra houses? How is it possible that this is a functioning benefic for the chart? Well, technically, Mercury is actually a benefic on its own, but it is easily influenced. So it is technically a neutral planet. And because Virgo is the stronger sign, which is ruling over this 10th house, this Upachaya house that grows with time, so even though Gemini is over in this Marka house, the stronger of the two Mercury signs is placed in your 10th house of career, which is giving this mercurial position strength for you. So this is very positive for your career life. Mercury is very prominent here as far as what you're doing along the lines of your career. Mercury is ruling the 10th house, and Mercury is a very technical planet, so you can be a very skillful person. You can be very punctual. You can be very detail oriented. You can be a little OCD actually in your career. So interestingly enough, in other areas of your life, although you're this adventurous, free-spirited person, you are very professional in your career. So Mercury can really work in your favor in this position, where you can use your morals, use your principles, use your education to do very intellectual jobs and careers within your life. This is very powerful, where you can reach a high level of status. And this is, again, where your intellect, where your education comes into the picture. Your education helps you rise higher in life. You have this huge level of intellect which allows you to analyze and to solve problems. So you can also be in careers that involve problem-solving skills, where you are sought after for your wisdom, for your advice. You can be someone who gives good advice, who is a counselor. You could also be involved in the medical field because Virgo is dealing with health and wellness. Now, Cancer controls your 8th house. This is a tricky position. You really want to see the moon's position because the moon is a fluctuating factor. And this 8th house is all about fluctuation. So this creates an interesting situation where a lot of you can have mood swings. You have various changes happening in your emotional state. So a lot of you are very empathetic, very empathic deep down. You're a very sensitive and warm-hearted person. And this relates to your ascendant, where you want to help others. You want to share your teachings and knowledge with the world. You want to make a difference in society with your knowledge. So a lot of you are very emotional, and a lot of you have deep knowledge. Again, because the moon represents the mind and is ruling over this 8th house of secrets, mystery, the occult, deep research. So this is a very powerful position where you have a lot of deep wisdom and insight to give to the world. But you want to be cautious here because some of you can be very sensitive. Your moods can change and fluctuate a lot with the moon ruling over this 8th house of crisis and ups and downs. So you can find yourself in a lot of changes in life. But in a way, this is good for you because a lot of you want a certain level of change and movement in life. This actually helps you to grow, to expand, to evolve as a person. And so a lot of you go through a lot of growth in life, a lot of transformation that helps you to grow within yourself. Where a lot of you can learn from experiences, and this helps to add to your wisdom. Also, with Cancer in the 8th house, a lot of you tend to be strongly connected with your mother's family or with your in-laws. The moon is in the 8th house of dramatic situations, so there can also be difficulties in the relationship to your mother. But there tends to be a very good connection with in-laws with this position. And this, of course, can fluctuate because the moon waxes and wanes. But you want to look at the condition of the moon in your chart. This will tell you a lot about these relationships. Is the moon's position strong in your chart? How's it being aspected? And is it in a waning or waxing phase? This will tell you a lot about the strength of the moon in your chart. And if you want to know more about the moon's importance as far as phases and cycles that it goes through, I've made a video on this very topic that I will leave below in the description and above. So depending on how bright the moon is in your chart is a huge factor on how it will impact you within your natal chart. But this is especially true for those of you with Sagittarius ascendants because it sits in this 8th house. The moon is the ruler of your 8th house of sudden changes, sudden events, transformation, where you can go through a lot of ups and downs throughout your life. Cancer in the 8th house, along with Scorpio being back in that 12th house once again, can make you a very secretive person, where you are keeping aspects of yourself hidden. So although you are this outgoing person out in the world making a difference, traveling and so forth, there are certain parts of yourself and your life that you don't easily reveal to other people. Now lastly, Leo is controlling your 9th house. This is a functional benefic for you. A lot of you again have great wisdom, great knowledge. With the sun lighting up this 9th house, which is the original house of Sagittarius, this is an incredibly powerful position. A lot of you have deep wisdom and insight with the sun controlling this 9th house, and you're very confident about this. You're very charismatic about this. You are able to lead through your wisdom, knowledge, and insight. You're very confident in it. You're very assertive about it. You're able to get your message, your philosophy, your teaching across to other people. Now, of course, you want to see the condition of the sun, though, because if the sun is in a weakened position in your chart, then there can be ego problems where you can be very arrogant about your knowledge, or you can have a very low self-esteem when it comes to sharing this knowledge with other people. And if the sun is in an incredibly difficult position where it is being afflicted by negative planets such as Rahu, Saturn, and it is in a negative placement in the chart, and a sign where it doesn't function as well, this can also make you wrong about the knowledge that you think you possess. So you want to be careful before putting information out into the world, making sure that that information is correct. For a lot of you, you're able to make great leaders. You're able to hold positions of high authority where you are able to share this knowledge and wisdom. Now, with the sun controlling the ninth house, you could have difficulties with authority figures, however. You could have difficulties with your teachers because this is your position. This is where you shine. Again, this is the sun lighting up this house. So there can potentially be arguments with authority figures in this area. Remember that the sun is a very dominating influence. It is considered to be a mild malefic because although it is a benefic, it is very hot. It burns through things. So there can be some conflict in this area. But typically you make a great teacher, a great preacher, a great inspiration. You're able to use your knowledge that you have in a positive way. You can lift the spirits of others with your knowledge. You have a way to mix your humor and knowledge once again together to put a smile on the faces of others. You can lift others up in a time of crisis and a time of need. Your father also can be someone who is very important to you. Some of you may be following in your father's footsteps, or you have gained a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight from your father growing up. But again, you want to look at where the sun is placed in your chart because this will also tell you the relationship to your father. And if the sun is badly damaged, this can hurt this relationship with your father. This also is going to tell you the conditions of this house. Once again, if the sun is weak, this can be an area where you struggle at. Now, let's take a look at the placements of Jupiter. So once again, this is looking at your ascendant lord, which is going to give you information about the lessons in your life and where your primary focus is within your natal chart. And so here on this first page, you can see a list of the placements that are beneficial for Jupiter according to sign. But we're going to go ahead and go through the different house placements. And what you will notice, which I won't bring up in every single section, but Jupiter will always aspect 5th, 7th, and ninth from its position. And it is said that Jupiter behaves like a lamp according to Vedic astrology. So it lights up these houses very brightly, where these houses are getting impacted along with the house that Jupiter is placed in. So let's go ahead and get started for those of you who have Jupiter in Sagittarius. So this is Jupiter in your first house, and this is a very auspicious placement, a very powerful position, because Jupiter is in its strongest home of Sagittarius. But not only this, but Jupiter is considered to be Digbala in directional strength here in the first house. So this is a very fortunate position. This can bring you a lot of luck in life. You can gain a lot of luck through your happiness and prosperity. You can gain a lot through your property and home as well. This also makes you someone who is extremely restless. You have a ton of energy and you like a lot of change in life. So you can be someone who enjoys a lot of travel and someone who is always on the go. You're a very deep person, very philosophical. You have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom. You can teach others through your wisdom, and you are wise beyond your years. So this is a position of an old soul. You could become very successful as a teacher or philosopher. However, you can sometimes have some difficulties within your relationships. And this again is because of all of this restless energy that you have. You are someone who doesn't want to settle down too early in life. So you prefer a partner who is more spontaneous and adventurous, where you can go on adventures with your partner. You are someone who is always looking to grow, to evolve as a person. You are a very evolved old soul. You are looking to travel, to learn, to experience, to broaden your horizons, to continue to evolve as an individual. For those of you with Jupiter in Capricorn, this is positioned in your second house. So you can attract a lot of wealth into your life, and you can gain a great deal of skills around your finances. You can be very good at managing finances. However, we have to keep in mind that Jupiter is debilitated in the sign of Capricorn, so this brings some difficulties, where as much as you can be skilled at attracting finances into your life, you also can be a bit of a spendthrift. And this can cause you to lose control over your finances. And so typically this is a placement that grows with time, where from a younger age this is more challenging to manage your resources. But as you get older, you gain these financial skills. You're also a very intelligent person. You possess a wealth of knowledge, and you can gain a lot of tradition, a lot of culture, a lot of values from your family. Oftentimes you're given a responsibility to care for your family, to provide for your family in some way, and this can be very challenging. Some of you can have a lot of difficulties in your early upbringing, and your responsibility to your family can become very draining, where you have to give a lot of yourself, and this can feel very restrictive. However, again, you are able to gain a lot of value from your family, and this is the gift of Jupiter in this second house. For those of you who have Jupiter in Aquarius, this will be positioned in your third house. So you are a very clever, skillful person. You have a lot of practical knowledge. There's a little bit of a conflict here because you are able to apply your knowledge in a strategic and practical way. However, Jupiter is about this big, broad philosophical learning, these higher teachings. So you are in conflict where you want to learn about these deep philosophical topics, but you have this very practical, mundane skill about you. And so because of this, you are able to blend your practical skills with your wisdom. And this can make you an excellent writer, a counselor. You can work in government jobs. And interestingly enough, another thing that I've seen that is very common with this position is that you can be very skilled in music. So a lot of musical artists have this Jupiter in Aquarius for Sagittarius ascendant. This can also bring some difficulties around your relationship to your siblings. Sometimes you can have a loss of a sibling, or you can be separated from your sibling where you have to travel to connect with your sibling. However, a lot of the difficulties in this area can be sorted out, mostly because Saturn is, again, that factor that grows with time. And this is an Upachaya house that also is about that growth over time. For those of you with Jupiter in Pisces, Jupiter is very happy in this position. It's in its own sign, and it is in the fourth house, which is the house of happiness, of peace, of home, of family, of mother, of nourishment. So this is an excellent position. And remember that Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer, which is the original fourth sign. So there is somewhat of a connection here with this being the fourth house, where Jupiter feels very happy here. This can bring you a lot of happiness throughout your life. You could have grown up in a very happy and peaceful environment. This is an excellent position, and you are someone who loves wisdom, who loves knowledge, and because Jupiter is here in Pisces, you are someone who has a lot of metaphysical knowledge. You have a lot of mystical and spiritual wisdom to you that you have gained in previous lifetimes, and you're continuing to build off of this knowledge. So you seek a great deal of wisdom in life. This is the position of an old soul, and a lot of the time you have a strong attachment to your family, to your home. There's something very special, very mystical, or very interesting about your relationship to your home environment. You can gain a lot of wisdom through your culture, through your family. Your family can be very supportive of you, but you also are very open-minded when it comes to wisdom. You want to learn from all different sources. You do not discriminate. You want to learn from different religions, different teachings, different philosophies, And you are a very changeable person because Pisces is a dual sign similar to Sagittarius. So there's a lot of change happening here, a lot of restlessness. So therefore, you are someone who likes to travel, and you can oftentimes be in circumstances where you have to move away from your home. There is some sort of situation that takes you away from your home where you are going on different adventures, and you can learn a great deal. You seek a lot of wisdom through these experiences and adventures in your life. You can gain a tremendous amount of wisdom in life, and you can be very helpful and healing to other people due to this wisdom. You can sometimes be found working within an organization or a facility that is focused on serving other people. So you are a very helpful person. You are contributing to society through your wisdom, and you have a way of being very cheerful, very optimistic. You spread happiness to other people. For those of you who have Jupiter in Aries, this is positioned in your 5th house. So you are a very lucky person oftentimes. Again, you want to pay attention to where Mars is positioned in your chart, because that can be a little bit of a reckless factor there in your chart. However, most of you have a lot of luck and speculation and gambling. You are very fortunate person. Now, you are also a very impulsive person. You like taking risk. You are someone who likes excitement, who likes adventure, who likes spontaneity. You love to travel. You love to be engaged in different activities. And for many of you, when you become parents, you also like to get your children involved in adventure and activities. You have a great sense of humor, and you have a great way with children. There sometimes is a childlike nature about you. Not childish, but you are very much in tune with your inner child. And this keeps you forever young in a way where you are very much able to relate to children. You are someone who loves travel, who loves education. You have a passion for learning, and you can make a great parent along with a great teacher. And this is especially true because not only is Jupiter here in this 5th house of education, but this is aspecting over to your 9th house of higher education. So you make an excellent teacher, an excellent guide for other people. For those of you with Jupiter in Taurus, this is positioned in your 6th house. And this is a bit of an interesting placement because of the fact that this is Venus, and Jupiter and Venus do not get along. So Jupiter isn't quite as flexible and changeable as it normally would be. Here in the sign of Taurus, this is a very stable and grounded position. And so this is definitely going to be difficult for those of you who are getting involved in a lot of situations of change and movement. You don't like a lot of change. You are someone who is very stable, very practical. You have a very fixed attitude towards life. And this can help you in a way where you are able to increase your wealth. You're able to be successful in your career because you have this fixed quality of being consistent. You also want to pay very close attention to your health. Again, we talked about how Taurus here in this 6th house can cause problems with weight gain due to sweets, which can also account to other health concerns as well. And with Jupiter in here, which is another benefic planet, this can definitely make you someone who has a sweet tooth. You can become addicted. So you can have all sorts of issues with dependency. You want to pay very close attention to this in your life. And this is something, again, that can play out for you at an older age because Taurus is slow moving. So you may be someone who is very thin, very healthy, but this can cause you some major problems later in life. So you want to pay close attention to your health, to your diet, how you are taking care of yourself. This also, though, could make you someone who is very interested in your diet and health. You could be a vegetarian because Taurus is very much connected to the earth. So you can have an interest in clean and natural diets. You can be someone who wants to protect the environment, who is all about social causes. You can be very much involved in social service and counseling in the medical field and law. You are someone who wants to help society. You also have to be careful when it comes to enemies and competitors. You can attract a lot of conflict from your competition, and this can cause you some health issues because you don't like a lot of conflict here in this sign of Taurus, which is Venus led. So this can impact your health as well. This is also a position where you can have a love of animals. You like to care for animals. You like to protect animals. You like having this close connection with a pet. For those of you with Jupiter in Gemini, this is in your 7th house. A lot of you love to help other people. This is the house of other people, of compromise, of negotiation, of relationships. So you have very strong morals, and you can be very sweet, very caring, very affectionate towards other people. You love to please others. And you also can prefer to work in environments that allow a lot of change, because remember, this is Gemini, where this is a very changeable sign. So you like spontaneity, you like change, you like fast-paced situations in your workspace. Boring, monotonous jobs can be very difficult for you. Sometimes you like jobs that involve travel, where this keeps you on the go. You don't do very well when you are in boring situations. You are someone who needs intellectual stimulation in your career. You're also someone who likes to travel with your partner. So if you are in a relationship, you're someone who likes a partner who is up for adventure, who likes to go to foreign locations. You could also meet a partner in a foreign location as well. For those of you with Jupiter in Cancer, this is in your 8th house, and this is going to give you some mixed results because Jupiter is in its exaltation. However, the 8th house is a house of sudden and dramatic events. So you can go through a lot of difficult changes in your life. However, you're able to overcome those obstacles. You're able to come out of this because Jupiter helps you here with it being in its exaltation. This can take you through a lot of crisis situations, but you are a very caring person, a very supportive person. You want to help other people. You have a huge heart, a lot of empathy, very sensitive person. You also can have an attraction to occult knowledge, to mystical subjects. You can have very deep spiritual wisdom. This can be an excellent position for an astrologer, a mystic, any kind of area where you are tapping into this deep knowledge. You can be into research as well. This can also give you a lot of success in business because, again, this is one of our money houses. So you could work really well in a business partnership. You can attract a lot of resources, and even if you are not in a partnership, you have a way of attracting wealth into your life. For those of you with Jupiter in Leo, this is positioned in your 9th house. So you can gain a lot of luck in life because the sun is the most benefic planet for Sagittarius rising. So you are a very fortunate person. You tend to be very cheerful, very happy, very optimistic as well. You have a positive outlook towards life, and you are always looking to the future. You can be interested in searching for truth, wisdom, and philosophy, and you can make an excellent teacher. However, there can sometimes be some power struggles with authority figures and sometimes even the father, because remember that the sun is ruling over Leo and the sun is very hot. It burns through things. So there can be some tension in this area. It's very important that you are respecting your elders and authority figures because you actually can attract a lot of luck and happiness through authority figures. They can bring a lot of blessings into your life. But you are very confident, very charismatic, and this makes you an excellent teacher because you're able to get those views, that philosophy, that wisdom out into the world. You have a way of impacting other people through your teachings. And you can also do very well with children. You can make an excellent teacher when it comes to dealing with young people or in any situation that involves children. Those of you who have Jupiter in Virgo, you have this in your 10th house, so you're a very intelligent person. Remember that Virgo is the exaltation of Mercury. and it is the strongest sign for Mercury. So you're a very analytical person. You can work very well in intellectual career settings. You can be a very great problem solver. You can think quick on your feet. You're very skillful, very clever-minded. And this can help you in your career. You have a strong need to use your mind in your career, to utilize your intelligence. And this is what will mostly give you happiness in your career. You can't settle for a boring career. You need something that gets you mentally engaged. You make an excellent researcher because Virgo gives you these strong analytical abilities. You are able to pick apart the details of any situation. And not only this, but due to this rulership of Sagittarius rising and this Jupiter factor, you are able to find the deeper meaning after picking apart these details. So you have profound intelligence. You can rise to a very high level in your career due to your intelligence. Your education takes you very far in life. And a lot of the time, other people look to you for advice. Other people look to you because of your skill level and intelligence. For those of you who have Jupiter in Libra, this is in your 11th house, where you can acquire a ton of gains through your career. But this is a difficult combination. There's a bit of conflict here because this again is Venus, and Jupiter and Venus don't get along. So this is a situation where you are not someone who really cares all that much for material gains. However, you always find yourself wrapped up in this situation where you have a calling to move towards this material situation. Remember that Jupiter is all about higher principles and morals. So this is where this conflict is coming from. Jupiter is trying to take you to a level of higher awareness. But you are someone who is able to attract a lot of material resources. And due to this connection to the material world, you make an excellent judge. You make an excellent advocate. You are all about social justice, all about making a difference in the world. So you can be very much involved in activism and environmental issues, all sorts of situations where you are trying to help other people and make a difference in the world. You are also a very social person, very friendly. You are able to attract large circles of friends. People find you to be very peaceful, very magnetic, very easy to relate to, easy to connect to. And you don't discriminate when dealing with other people. You have a very balanced way of looking at social situations. You like to connect to a variety of people. And this can also make you a great leader in situations where you are serving, where you're making a difference through these big social movements and causes. For those of you with Jupiter in Scorpio, this is in your 12th house. You have a deep level of spiritual wisdom. This 12th house takes you behind the scenes where you can be a more private and introverted person. This is a very positive placement though, because Jupiter is about this deep wisdom and philosophy. And so this is excellent for you. You are able to gain a level of deep wisdom and insight. And a lot of the wisdom that you gain helps you to overcome struggles in your life. You can become almost obsessed with gaining wisdom and knowledge and traveling to foreign places, learning about different cultures, studying all of these deep occult and mystical subjects. You have a profound way of seeing things that is difficult for other people to understand. You do have to be careful in this area though when it comes to money, because you can attract a lot of resources through your knowledge and teachings, but because this 12th house is a house of letting go, it is a house of endings. It's the very last house in the chart. So you can become obsessive when it comes to spending. So you can gain a lot of resources, but you can lose that money just as fast as you have gained it. You also have to be careful with overindulgence. Again, Scorpio back in this 12th house can give a lustful nature, can give an overindulgent nature where you are getting too much into the pleasures of life. So let's go ahead and talk about the Nakshatras. And once again, it is important to understand what degrees are your rising sign under. This will tell you which of these 3 Nakshatras you will be born under. So the Nakshatras we're going to discuss are Mula, Purva Ashadha, and Uttara Ashadha. Starting off here with Mula, Mula is the first nakshatra here in the sign of Sagittarius. It is positioned from 0 degrees till 13 degrees 20 minutes of Sagittarius. So Mula translates to the root. It is the foundation star. And this is coming from its symbol, which is a bundle of roots tied together, or reticulated roots. And so this symbol of roots is all about going to the depths, going deep underground. This is all about getting to the foundation. And this position is relative to the galactic center. So the center of our galaxy where all life originated from. And so again, this is all about getting to the root of the truth, getting to the deeper meaning behind life. And so those who are born under this nakshatra are very wise, very intelligent, very scholarly. They are extremely interested in investigating and looking deeper into knowledge and wisdom behind everything in existence. This nakshatra also has 2 additional symbols. It is represented by a lion's tail, which is representing the ability to face and overcome one's fears in life. So the lion, being a ferocious animal, is representing our desires, our passion, our unconscious fears, the things that drive us at an instinctual level. And Mula can possess a tremendous amount of desires, can be very impulsive, self-destructive, and so there is a need to overcome this side of themselves. And so this shows that those who are born under this Mula nakshatra are coming out of that previous Scorpio zone of going through fears and trauma. So those born under this nakshatra are always talking about their fears, always trying to get to the root of what those fears are. And they're very interested in also understanding the minds of others, the fears of others, what drives the human condition. They're about getting to the bottom of deep-rooted issues. And so they have a deep investigative nature. This also is going along with the last symbol, which is of an elephant goad. An elephant goad is a sharp object that is used to train elephants into obedience. And so those born under Mula are always transforming, they're always growing, they're always evolving through their traumas, their fears, and their past resentments. So this is all about getting to the root in order to gain wisdom, to grow, to improve upon oneself. The planetary ruler, according to the Vimshottari Dasha system, is Ketu. And Ketu is considered to be the co-lord of Scorpio and Pisces. This is where this investigative quality of Mula comes into play. This is all about getting to the truth, finding the deeper meaning behind it all. Ketu is a planet of disillusion, of mystical knowledge, of everything that exists beyond the veil of this world. And so Ketu is that liberated being that is all about the spiritual, all about this path towards liberation. It is also a very fiery and explosive energy that liberates us. So those who are born under this nakshatra tend to go towards enlightenment, or a period of awakening after intense inner transformations. These people can go through sudden reversals and difficulties in life that lead them to this spiritual awakening. Many people born under this nakshatra are also very optimistic. They come to a realization that they are able to overcome their obstacles in life by addressing the root cause and moving towards this higher spiritual path. These are very intellectual people who are always thinking, always changing, always moving, always in their head imagining things. They are very deep thinkers. And there's also a bit of a duality in this nakshatra. Niruti is the goddess of death, decay, and disillusionment. And so this is representing the destruction or transformation that is found within this Mula nakshatra. And Niruti is also connected to Kali, which is also the goddess of death and destruction. So we see this representation here of breaking things apart, of destroying things for the purpose of laying a new and better foundation. The aim of this nakshatra is Kama, so these are people who have very strong desires. And this can sometimes show weaknesses that are associated with Mula that have to do with temptation, lustfulness, impulsiveness, overindulgence, and getting into black magic and other activities. But ultimately, the overall aim of this nakshatra is moving towards happiness and connection with this karma association. They are also of the Rakshasa temperament, or the demon temperament. So they are very self-oriented people. They have a bit of a fiery temperament and are determined to stay true to who they are and what their path is. This is a part of the butcher caste, and so this again is related to this ability to penetrate through the surface and to get to the truth. The butcher is all about cutting things, breaking things down, analyzing things, getting to the root of everything. And so those born under Mula can be very skilled at research, at dissecting information. They can be skilled even in careers that involve cutting or sharp instruments. They can use their sharp intellect in their career situation. Those born under Mula have a tendency to be very impulsive, very fierce, very determined to achieve their goals in life. This is also a very lucky nakshatra as well. These individuals can get into troubling or difficult circumstances in their life. And again, they are able to go through this reversal or transformation, where they are magically able to get themselves out of the situation and to become better and wiser through those difficulties. They can be very mystical, spiritual, and philosophical. Again, this is all about research, digging deeper to find the hidden information behind life. And so they can also be educated in the occult, in the mystical, in all sorts of mystical and spiritual tools and practices. They can be into witchcraft, into tarot, into the dark arts, and this can go to the extreme of either being good or bad. They can go to the dark side and practice black magic, but they also can use these mystical talents and gifts for good, to heal people, to help people, to enlighten people. This will depend upon how evolved these individuals are along their journey. They have a tremendous amount of wisdom and are able to share this wisdom to get this information out to other people. They also grow with time. Again, we talked about how this is associated with the Sagittarius rising, where these are people who grow slowly over time. Those born under Mula are constantly going through growth and self-improvement in their lives. They tend to be very responsible, hardworking, and dedicated to completing their tasks and responsibilities. On the negative side, they can be very lustful, egocentric, prideful, self-serving, vain, image-conscious, and paranoid. These are deep thinkers, so they can get caught up into negative thinking at times. This can put them into a fearful position. Those born under Mula also have a tendency to have health issues. This is one of the most reported nakshatras for having difficulties with health. Many complaints from those born under the Mula nakshatra, from having mental illnesses to having physical disabilities and so forth. They can have issues related to their hips and joints. Again, this is related to Sagittarius, and issues with weight gain. This also comes from the fact that they are always in their minds. They are constantly thinking, constantly learning, absorbing information. And so there can be a tendency to spend a lot of time with the energy up in the head, but not so much in their bodies. So overall, the positive qualities in this nakshatra include being highly ambitious, independent, educated, philosophical, skillful, and clever, while the negative qualities are around suspicion, chaos, anger, lust, brutality, and a tendency towards black magic. So let's talk about the different padas or quarters. Each nakshatra is broken up into 4 padas, and the term pada actually means foot. It is a section of the nakshatra that gives us an even deeper indication of how these qualities will play out. And the first pada of Mula is positioned from 0 degrees till 3 degrees 20 minutes of Sagittarius. This is falling within an Aries Navamsa. So if we think about Aries being positioned in the 5th house, this tells us a lot about this pada, where these individuals are very cheerful, very adventurous, very much into investigation, research, very intellectual individuals. They're very daring, they're all about risk-taking, they can be very impulsive at times, they can be overly optimistic about situations, sometimes even becoming egocentric and arrogant in their way of thinking. But they have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of ambition. They're very quick to achieve their goals in life. Those who are born under Pada 2 are born from 3 degree 20 minutes till 6 degree 40 minutes of Sagittarius. This is falling within a Taurus Navamsa. And so these are individuals who are very creative, very talented, oftentimes interested in the arts, interested in beauty, and to the materialistic aspects of life, and they can be very materially driven. They also, though, can be interested in healing and service. They're often very responsible and hardworking people. They waste no time at all in achieving their goals and responsibilities. Those who are born under the third pada are born from 6 degrees 40 minutes till 10 degrees of Sagittarius. This is falling within a Gemini Navamsa. And so these are individuals who are very intellectual. They are very high-minded people. They have a very high level of intellect. And they are always in their minds, thinking, analyzing, learning, absorbing information. They often do very well in education. They're very scholarly people. They seek to learn and to gain a higher perspective. They can reach high levels of education and can move up the ranks to a very high position in life. They are very skilled often in research, investigation, philosophy. They are very deep and complex thinkers who can dissect very complicated subjects. On the negative side, these people being always in their head, being these thinkers, can become fearful, paranoid. They can get into overthinking. Those who are born within the last pada are born from 10 degrees till 13 degrees 20 minutes, extending here towards the end of this nakshatra in Sagittarius. This is falling under a Cancer Navamsa. And so these are people who are very emotional, who are very sensitive, who are very caring. However, they can struggle with many emotional difficulties and ups and downs in life if they are not putting in energy into caring, helping, and contributing to society. They can get stuck into themselves where they can relive trauma and difficulties. There can be a lot of instability in their emotions and difficulty controlling their emotions when they are caught up in this rut within their minds. And so there's a need to extend this caring quality out into the world. These are people who also can be a bit on the shy side. They can spend a lot of time in isolation and secrecy, can be very skilled in research and digging deeper for information. They oftentimes have difficulties expressing themselves if they have not dealt with their emotions and trauma. And so this is a position that can take a person through tremendous transformation where they can go through intense changes in terms of reaching their maturity level. So once these individuals are able to mature and to grow through their experiences, these emotional challenges become much easier to manage. Now we will discuss what it is like to have your rising sign in the Purva Ashadha Nakshatra. So this nakshatra is positioned from 13 degrees 20 minutes till 26 degrees 40 minutes of Sagittarius. Purva Ashadha translates to the former invincible victory or the undefeated. This is the invincible star. So those who are born under this nakshatra can be extremely successful within their lives. This is a nakshatra where they are undefeated. They are unconcerned with their failures and difficulties from the past and are instead focused in the present moment. So those with this nakshatra are extremely optimistic, very forward-looking. This is the most optimistic part of Sagittarius. It is situated within the heart of Sagittarius. So we see the most qualities that are related to Sagittarius here within this position. Those who are born under this nakshatra are extremely focused on enjoying every moment to the fullest. There are three main symbols found within this nakshatra. The hand fan, which is a symbol of secrecy and sensuality. So this is a very attractive and mysterious nakshatra. These individuals tend to be very sensual in nature and have a very attractive appearance. They also are very mysterious. They like to keep parts of themselves hidden from the world. This is also a symbol of power and influence. In ancient times, hand fans were used to symbolize royalty. So those born under this nakshatra can also gain a high position in life. They can become very likable and popular within the masses, can have a huge influence over others. Purva Ashadha is also symbolized by an elephant tusk, which is representing victory. And this elephant tusk is a symbol that is relative to this nakshatra and the next nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha. So these both are coming in pairs. The Ashadhas have everything to do with achievement and victory. And this first part of the Ashadhas here in Purva Ashadha is all about gaining that success, that victory, that achievement earlier in life, so they can rise to a high position from a younger age. The last symbol is a winnowing basket, which is representing the ability to rid oneself of impurity. So the separation of the wheat from the chaff, which is all about this removal, this cleansing of impurities. Once again, those born under this nakshatra are all about leaving behind the past and remaining optimistic, moving towards this futuristic pursuit, this vision in life. So they're very much about being in the present and being forward looking, removing all of these negativities from their life. This symbol can also speak to separation by rank or influence. So once again, these people can rise to a very influential position in life. The ruler, according to the Vimshottari Dasha system, is Venus. So there tends to be a desire towards beauty, fashion, and the arts. There's a flamboyance that is here within this nakshatra. Yet at the same time, these people are very wise and philosophical. So we have a contradiction within this nakshatra, where we have the two gurus. Jupiter and Venus are both gurus. Venus teaches us about the lower teachings, which is all about the occult knowledge, the hidden knowledge, and the sensual enjoyment within this physical incarnation, while Jupiter is all about teaching of the benevolence of the higher philosophy of religion. So these are very philosophical individuals with these two gurus who are impacting this nakshatra. They're very intellectual people, very free-spirited, independent, expansive, and luxurious. The deity of Purva Ashadha is Appa, goddess of water. This speaks to the depth, beauty, mystery, and power of this nakshatra. Like the ocean, they seek to be powerful and undefeated in all of their achievements, and they seek to continue to keep flowing, to keep expanding, to keep growing in life. The water also represents love, healing, cleansing, and removing of impurities. Once again, this is a Venus-led nakshatra. So these individuals are very much inclined towards love, romance, philosophy, and sharing this love and teaching with the world. The primary aim of this nakshatra is moksha. So these individuals seek freedom, and they seek to understand wisdom through love, through liberation, through enjoyment. They are all about self-improvement, and the temperament here is human. So there is a balanced temperament. These individuals can go from being very fierce and getting involved into a lot of drama and conflict, yet they also have a side to them that can be very peaceful, very loving, very down to earth. Purva Ashadha does have a duality of being incredibly beautiful and alluring, but also possessing very fierce and dynamic qualities. So again, this is relative to the ocean, this very mysterious kind of persona that is found within this nakshatra. The caste is Brahmin, or priest. So again, they have a wealth of wisdom. They can be extremely inspirational and influential, lifting up the spirits with optimism and with sharing their philosophy with the world. Those born under Purva Ashadha are playful, optimistic, and lively. This is the most optimistic and faithful part of Sagittarius. These individuals are incredibly optimistic, adventurous, driven, and competitive in nature. They are always seeking to be present in the moment and to enjoy life to the fullest. They can be very flamboyant, popular, luxurious, and flashy in their appearance. There is a dominance about their personality where they are able to hold high levels of status in the world, and they can be loved by the masses. They can also be very sensitive towards criticism and can get involved in drama and gossip. They can get involved into wars with other people, all sorts of rivalries and situations of conflict and drama. Yet they are very wise, very inspiring. They can influence others very easily. So some of the positive qualities of Purva Ashadha are that they are very fortunate, attractive, popular, authoritative, faithful, optimistic, ambitious, intelligent, inspiring, and humble. While some of the negatives can be that they can become proud, secretive, free-spirited, stubborn, and getting caught into situations of drama. Let's go ahead and talk about the different padas or quarters of this nakshatra. And the term pada actually means foot. So these are different sections that further breaks down this nakshatra, giving us some deeper insight as to what these positions are all about. The first pada found in Purva Ashadha is situated from 13 degrees 20 minutes till 16 degrees 40 minutes of Sagittarius. This is falling within a Leo Navamsa. So this typically gives an individual a strong position within society. They can be born into a situation of royalty, or they can reach a very high position where they are very well regarded by the masses. They tend to take on a lot of responsibilities and commitments and can acquire fame and popularity very easily. They tend to have strong conviction and morals, and they're very disciplined and can have a strong level of integrity. The second pada is positioned from 16 degrees 40 minutes till 20 degrees of Sagittarius. This is falling within a Virgo Navamsa. So this is bringing this energy down to earth. These individuals can be very easygoing, intellectual, hardworking, responsible people. They are focused on their duty and are driven to achieve their goals in life. They can be very materialistic, but they can also be very spiritual in nature, and they can be very skillful people who possess various talents and intellectual abilities. Pada 3 is situated from 20 degrees till 23 degrees 20 minutes of Sagittarius. This is falling within a Libra Navamsa, and these are individuals who tend to have a flair for the arts. They can possess artistic talent, they can be very skilled in design, music, drama, performance. They can have a very charming and charismatic personality, very attractive and able to easily influence and persuade others. Those who are born within the fourth pada of Purva Ashadha, this is going to be positioned from 23 degrees 20 minutes till 26 degrees 40 minutes of Sagittarius. And this is falling within a Scorpio Navamsa. So these individuals tend to be more on the shy side. They can be quite secretive and guarded. They like to keep aspects of their lives hidden away. And they also can be very mysterious, very sensual, very attractive. They have a mystical allure about them. And they also can have an interest in the occult or mystical subjects. They like to dive deep. They can make excellent researchers. They also can possess healing abilities. Lastly, we're going to be discussing what it looks like to have your rising sign in the nakshatra of Uttara Ashadha. So this is positioned from 26 degrees 40 minutes of Sagittarius till 10 degrees of Capricorn. This will mostly be positioned in the sign of Capricorn, but it will also be contained within the last quarter or last pada of Sagittarius. Uttara Ashadha means the latter invincible victory or the latter undefeated. This is the universal star. It follows the theme of our last nakshatra of Purva Ashadha. Both of the Ashadhas are about victory and achievements. This is an individual who is undefeated, who can achieve great success in life. However, this is a success that often comes late in life. The symbol of Uttara Ashadha is of an elephant tusk, which represents victory. We saw this in our previous nakshatra of Purva Ashadha. However, in Uttara Ashadha, the elephant tusk is also a symbol of leadership, rank, and authority. This is a much more practical nakshatra in comparison to our previous one. This is because we're shifting into the sign of Capricorn. We previously discussed how Sagittarius is about principles, morals, and philosophies, while Capricorn is about applying these principles into action and contributing to society. Capricorn becomes more practical and responsible. There is less of a flamboyance present here, and this is giving a more calm, reserved, and responsible nature as we shift ahead into the sign of Capricorn. This is also represented by the planks of a bed, representing the foundation, the stability that is found here. And this is representing the foundation for truth, righteousness, and success. It can also represent the foundation for spiritual progress, as a bed is a place for rest and contemplation. The planks hold up a bed, and so in the same way, Uttara Ashadha often holds up a corporation, society, or country. These are social justice warriors, all about upholding righteous views and looking after those who are treated unfairly. These are individuals who don't tolerate unjust behavior in society. The planetary ruler, according to the Vimshodri Dasha system, is the Sun. The Sun represents leadership, dominance, authority, and righteousness. The Sun is the king in the planetary cabinet, so there is a huge focus on virtue, purity, justice, responsibility, righteous deeds, and societal standard. These people are intelligent and deeply introspective. There's a quiet, responsible, and humble nature that is found here. The ruling deities are the Vishwadevas, or all gods. They represent respect, goodness, willpower, skill, truth, firmness, ancestors, brightness, peak time, and desire. This is all about possessing virtuous qualities. The all gods, or the Vishwadevas, also show the ability to delegate or to bring resources together. Again, this is often associated with leadership in government situations or in business corporations. Those born under Uttara Ashadha are optimistic. They are grounded in the present, practical, and often are going to achieve a long-lasting success. So these are qualities that help them to reach this success later in life. The aim of this nakshatra is moksha. These individuals are looking to evolve and to find deeper integration of spiritualization. So they can be spiritual or materialistic. The caste is of the Kshatriya or warrior. So these are great leaders, protectors, and fighters of social justice. Those born under Uttara Ashadha are social justice warriors. They are all about fairness. They have strong leadership qualities, are very responsible, and have strong ethics. They are virtuous, honest, and are all about doing what's right. They often have difficulty with tolerating wrong behavior, and their righteous qualities oftentimes can get them involved into conflict and drama. They can have ego issues with others, and they are very practical, hardworking, friendly. They're fierce in terms of social justice. However, they oftentimes have a very humble personality. They are very modest, soft-spoken, friendly, and down-to-earth. They oftentimes can even have a shyness about them, where they remain very quiet and humble. They have a laid-back quality and are highly ambitious, with strong determination to achieve and to go after what they want in life. And this is going to be especially true of the Capricorn side of this nakshatra. We talked about how Capricorn is relative to that of a crocodile or a sea monster, which is all about gobbling up opportunities and achieving success. So they have the ability to conquer their goals. These are also deep thinkers. They are more concerned with higher knowledge and higher social justice issues within the world, rather than getting wrapped up into smaller petty matters. They make great counselors, can give good advice and wisdom to others, and they can be extremely motivating and influential. So the positives of Uttara Ashadha is that they can be very humble, reserved, honest, kind, clever, fun-loving, wanderers. They can have many friends. They're very righteous and virtuous. They give good advice and can get long-lasting success. The negatives is that they can have many conflicts, especially early on in life. They can struggle in the earlier part of their lives as they are moving towards this success later on. And they can have ego issues when dealing with others because of their strong, virtuous views in life. So let's talk about the different padas or quarters, starting off with the first pada of Uttara Ashadha. And the term pada actually means foot. So these are sections that are giving us a deeper indication of what these positions actually represent. And the first pada here in Uttara Ashadha is positioned from 26 degrees 40 minutes till 30 degrees of Sagittarius, so extending out into the end of Sagittarius. And this is a Virgodama position, as this is in the sign of Sagittarius and within a Sagittarius pada. So these individuals tend to be very optimistic, very cheerful. They can live a very long and happy life, and they possess very virtuous qualities such as being honest, righteous, noble. They are all about upholding the righteous views within society. They are extremely courageous and are all about fighting for the rights of other people. Pada 2 is positioned from 0 degrees till 3 degrees 20 minutes of Capricorn. This again is a Virgodhamma position, as this is in Capricorn and within a Capricorn pada. Similar to our first pada, this can give a long and happy life. However, due to this being in Capricorn, there can be many struggles and conflicts early on in life. They can be very reserved, practical, and disciplined people, and they oftentimes are service-oriented and philanthropic. They want to help others. They want to make things better. They want to create change and movement in situations within society. They are very skilled in practical, mundane positions and can even do well in authoritative positions as well. Those who are born in the third pada of Uttara Ashadha are born under an Aquarius Navamsa. This is positioned from 3 degree 20 minutes till 6 degree 40 minutes of Capricorn. And these individuals are humanitarians at heart. They oftentimes make great social activists and are all about standing up for the underdog. They are focused on the well-being of their family and community and want to contribute. They also tend to seek a lot of support through their community, through their friends and families in order to achieve their higher aims in life. Pada 4 is positioned from 6 degrees 40 minutes till 10 degrees of Capricorn. This is our last pada here in Uttara Ashadha, and this is a Pisces Navamsa. These people are very spiritual, very mystical. They oftentimes are wanderers. They like to explore, both physically and within their minds. They have a love of traveling to different places and are very imaginative, full of ideas and many talents. The last thing that I want to bring up for those of you with a Sagittarius ascendant are your dasha periods. And keep in mind that this will be very general because your dasha periods will depend entirely on your Jamna or your moon Nakshatras. And so all of you will have different dasha periods that you will run through at different areas of your life. And so this is going to vary from person to person. We also have to keep in mind that those dasha planets will be positioned within different houses, different positions. They will be aspected differently from person to person and will be positioned differently within your Varga charts. But what we can do is we can take a look at your Sagittarius ascendant from your natal chart and see what houses do these planets rule, therefore giving us a clue about how these planets will impact you. So starting off with Ketu. For those of you with Sagittarius ascendant who are running a Ketu Mahadasha or a Ketu Antardasha, this is going to be set around happiness, around letting go, because Ketu again is considered to be the co-lord of Scorpio and Pisces, which is connected to your 12th and 4th house. So those of you undergoing this Ketu Mahadasha, you will have focus centered around your home environment, your mother, your family of origin, your country of origin for some of you, around your property, maybe some property dealings, and this can also lead you into spirituality, into foreign travel, into meditation and deeper contemplation, into occult subjects, deep research. This can lead you into hospitals and prisons, so you also want to be careful with this Ketu Mahadasha. But mostly this is a period about inner peace and happiness and letting go. For those of you with Sagittarius ascendant undergoing a Venus Mahadasha or Antardasha, this is going to be set around your daily responsibilities and gains in life. So this Venus Mahadasha can take you through a huge period of your life that is centered around career, because Venus is the ruler of Libra, especially its Mula sign there in your 11th house of gains, of social networks, social contacts, and it is also ruling over your 6th house of your health, of your competitors, of your daily responsibilities, of warlike situations, of all the effort that you have to put into your daily life. And so this is going to put a huge focus on being responsible, hardworking, and taking care of your responsibilities. For those of you with Sagittarius ascendant undergoing a Sun Mahadasha, this is a very auspicious one because the Sun rules over your 9th house of your teachers, mentors, higher education, philosophy, long journeys of religion, of culture, of publishing, of public speaking, all of these factors. And so this is going to put a huge spotlight on that 9th house, where this is going to be all about ethics, about responsibilities. Now, depending upon how the sun is positioned in your chart, you want to be careful with this one. You could have conflicts with authority figures. The more that you respect your authority figures during the Sun Mahadasha, the more blessings and opportunities will come to you. This can help you in your status, in your education, in your career path. This can take you on long journeys. This can bring you into contact with a new teacher, a new mentor who can give you good advice in your life. For those of you with a Sagittarius ascendant undergoing a Moon Mahadasha or Antardasha, the Moon is a very challenging planet for you as it controls over your 8th house. And so many of you can go through dramatic situations of transformation. This could be a time of undergoing a surgical operation, of going through some kind of significant change within your life. There can be trauma, deaths in the family. There can be situations around your in-laws, around any kind of inheritance, family situations coming to the forefront with the moon ruling over that 8th house. This also could be a time where you're more introspective, more secretive, more so going inward and looking into your spirituality, into your deeper studies and research about diving into the depths and understanding things at a deeper level. And again, you want to check to see where the moon is positioned in your chart and what phase is the moon going through. How is it being aspected? Is it in conjunction? All of these factors will matter because the moon is highly impressionable. For those of you with a Sagittarius ascendant undergoing a Mars Mahadasha or Mars Antardasha, this is going to put a huge focus on creativity and letting go, as Mars is ruling over that 5th house of your education, of your children, of your creativity, your speculative activities and hobbies, interests, entertainment, performance. This is a very creative and happy house, but it's also ruling over that 12th house of your foreign travels, of surrender, things coming to an end, of prisons, hospitals, foreign places, of spirituality, things that are hidden, secrets, of research, of mystical studies. And so this can be a time where you are tapping into your religion, into your spirituality, of going deeper into your studies and belief systems. This can be a time of prophetic dreams, of intuitive experiences, of meeting a new spiritual mentor, of becoming a teacher yourself, gaining some sort of coach or mentor within your life that can help you. This can also be a big time, though, where you are having to let go of things in your life, having to close out an old chapter, or you are having many expenses that you have to deal with. You also want to be careful about any kind of risk-taking with Mars ruling over that 5th and 12th house that could land you into a situation where you are isolated from the public. This can also make you someone who is very adventurous, who is interested in travel, who is interested in expressing yourself creatively in any of your hobbies at this time. For those of you going through a Rahu Mahadasha with Sagittarius ascendant, Rahu is co-lord of Virgo and Aquarius. So this is going to impact your career along with your efforts, with your ability to put yourself out in the world and go after what you want, because that 3rd house becomes Aquarius, and the 3rd house is about your ability to take the initiative, to put effort in. This is also a house that is related to writing, to journalism, to media, to creativity, to intelligence, education. It is an area where you are developing your skills and putting yourself forward in the world. It is also related to your siblings, neighbors, and your early childhood environment, how you're interacting and communicating with others. And that 10th house of career, ruled over by Virgo, is all about your reputation, all about how you're contributing to society, the responsibilities and duties you're taking on, anyone who is above you in a position of authority, your father. It is all about your contribution in societal concerns and social causes. And so this is going to be a huge time that is focused on your responsibilities, your duties, how you are committing yourself within society. So a lot of you will be very focused on your work, especially during this time, or putting out some sort of social message to others, wanting to get your message across with that Virgo in that 10th house. You can be very productive, very active in the world during your Rahu Mahadasha. This can also be a time where you are pursuing an independent effort. You may be pursuing an entrepreneurial situation or wanting to develop a certain skill for yourself. Those of you undergoing a Jupiter Mahadasha, this is auspicious because this is your chart ruler. So if you're going through a Jupiter Mahadasha or Antardasha, Jupiter is going to protect you as it is the ruler of your first house. And so this is going to put an emphasis on yourself and your inner peace. A lot of you will be very self-focused when you are going through a Jupiter Mahadasha because Jupiter is ruling over the first house, which is your physical body. It is your personality. It's how you're approaching life, how you're making decisions and judgments about life. It is your life path, the karmic lessons that you have to learn in life, setting the whole foundation of who you are as an individual. And the fourth house is all about your home, your mother, your country of origin, your inner peace and happiness. So this is going to be a period where you're very much focused on yourself, on what makes you happy, what brings you a sense of peace, what nourishes you. You can be very focused on your appearance, on your health, on the things that are going to affect how you come across to others, and the quality of your life becomes very important at this time. You could also become very independent, very freedom-loving. We talked about how Jupiter has control over that first and fourth house, which makes you someone who is very freedom-oriented. You create your own happiness, and this can be a huge theme during this Jupiter Mahadasha. For those of you with Sagittarius Ascendant who are going through a Saturn Mahadasha or Antardasha, this is going to be focused again on your career, on your efforts, on your resources. This is going to be a very hard working period for many of you as Saturn is ruling over your second house of your family, of your upbringing, of your past, of your traditions, of the things that you value, your food intake, your speech, your responsibilities. All of the things that were instilled in you from an early age coming through that second house, all sorts of oral and spoken written language, all of this coming through this second house, and the third house being all about communication, media, entertainment, creativity, talents, development of skills, self-initiative. All of this coming into the picture, you can be very hardworking. You can be very much geared towards your family, being responsible, providing for your loved ones, being someone who others rely on, being someone who is out in the world pursuing the things that you want to achieve. This could be a time of entrepreneurship or career focus. This can also be a time where you're taking up a course where you are developing some sort of practical skill that can help you as far as pursuing your goals in life. Your siblings, those closest to you, those who you connect to in your early childhood, can also play a huge theme at this time. For those of you with Sagittarius Ascendant going through a Mercury Mahadasha or Antardasha, this is going to be focused on your responsibilities and your partnerships. So again, we get this business focus as we come into this Mercury zone, as Mercury is ruling over your 7th house of negotiation, compromise, marriage partners, business partners, how you are contributing to society, your popularity, and the 10th house of your career, your status, your duty to the world, those social causes, your father, authorities within your life, all of the rules and regulations and all of the responsibilities that you have within society. And so this is going to make you very work-oriented during this Mercury Mahadasha. Your spouse, your father, and any sort of authority figures in your life can hold great importance at this time, but you are mostly going to be focused on business dealings and responsibility during this Mercury Mahadasha. And again, this can all vary depending upon how these planets are positioned in your chart. So you always want to look at the houses, how everything is aspected, what is conjunct to these planets, and how they also are placed within the Varga charts.